Now, if the court or the tribunal wants to hear an election petition that has been filed, it is expected of the secretary or the registrar of that particular tribunal or that particular court. What we are using the word court is that court of appeal can be an election tribunal when it borders on presidential elections. Now, when the secretary or the registrar of that tribunal sends a notice of the place and time of the hearing of the election petition, now this particular notice is not expected to be less than 5 days to the date of the hearing or the date of that particular trial. Now, at the trial or at the hearing of election petition, it is expected that each of the parties, they are entitled to 14 days to prove or 14 days to establish their evidence or their case. Now, any of the parties here are known as petitioner and respondent. Petitioner is the person bringing you to court. Respondent is the person that is brought to court. Now, the person who feels aggrieved by the outcome of the election files a petition. He is called petitioner, while the person who was declared or returned as the winner is known as the respondent. Now, each of them will be entitled to 14 days to be able to prove their case. And anybody who was not able to utilize his own 14 days cannot allege or complain that he was denied fair hearing. And I would want you to note that election petition is expected to be filed within 21 days from the date that the result was declared. Please, not from the date that the election was held. For example, if election was held today, being the 27th day of October 2027, and result was declared the next day, being the 28th day of October 2027, you will start counting the 21 days from the 28th day of October. Now, another thing you need to note is that the date that the result was declared will not be counted or computed in the calculation. So you start counting from the next day. Now, if the next day happens to be a Sunday or a public holiday, you still don't count the next day. You start counting from the next free day or from the next day that is not Sunday or a public holiday. Now, remember that once you have already filed your petition, the respondent will be entitled to file what is called respondent reply within 14 days from the date of receiving the petition. Remember, the petition is 21 days after declaration of result, alongside the principle I have explained earlier. Then respondent reply, which is the person that is now brought to court, he will file his own reply, his own defense. It's called respondent reply within 14 days. Then if there are new issues arising from the respondent reply, then the petitioner has within 5 days to address those new issues by filing what is called petitioner's reply. Now, one thing I would want you to note about election petition is that there is no extension of time. So, for example, if the petitioner did not utilize the 21 days for filing the petition, he is what is called statute barred, meaning that the law precludes him from taking any further action. If the respondent did not file his respondent reply within 14 days, he is statute barred. If the petitioner, there is a need for him to file a reply, he didn't file it within 5 days, he is statute barred. Statute barred means that the law is barring you, the law is prohibiting you, the law is restricting you from doing that which you ought to have done within the duration that is left for you under the law. Now, when a petition has been filed, the tribunal has within 180 days to deliver its judgment from the date that the petition was filed. Now, if the tribunal had delivered this judgment, remember also the tribunal is not allowed to extend the duration within which it can deliver its judgment. So any judgment of the tribunal that is outside this particular duration is null and void. Now, if the tribunal had delivered judgment and any of the parties feels aggrieved with the decision of the tribunal, you will now file what is called appeal at the appropriate appellate court. For example, if you are coming from the Governorship Election Tribunal or the National Assembly or National Assembly Election Tribunal, you are filing your appeal at where is known as Court of Appeal. And you have within 21 days from the date of the decision of the tribunal to file your appeal. Now, when an appeal has been filed, note that the appellate court or the Court of Appeal in this instance has within 60 days to deliver its judgment from the date that the tribunal gave its decision. From the date that the tribunal gave its decision, the Court of Appeal has within 60 days to deliver its decision on the appeal.